24-hour business plan.
Welcome to the 24-hour business plan podcast channel. Now, in this episode, we're going to look at a question that we often get asked about is how can I grow my company? Like, it's a pretty broad concept in terms of growth. And interestingly, there's actually only 5 ways to grow your company. And when you understand that and understand what those 5 options are, it's much easier to understand what your opportunities might not be. Now, the first way to grow your company is really simple. Just keep doing what you're doing. You might be selling widgets in Victoria only, and you might realize you've only got 1% of the market, and you can keep selling widgets in Victoria and do very, very well and grow your company that way. The second way to grow a company is actually to launch in a new market. Now, you might be the widget maker and you're going, okay, I'm going to expand to New South Wales because it's about 30% of the Australian business community, and there's a huge customer base up there, and I'm going to shift up into New South Wales. Now, that requires a lot of things and resources and capabilities to go with it, but it's a genuine way to grow your company. Many other companies who might be Australia-wide might go, actually, we might expand across to New Zealand, or we might expand up to Singapore or Southeast Asia. So thinking about, could your business succeed in another market, obviously profitably, is well worth doing. The third way to grow your company is to provide another product or service that you don't already provide right now. So, you might be selling nails right now through Bunnings, and you might say, well, actually, I could also sell screws because I've got a way of making those and I understand what the customer needs. So you just add another product line, or if you're a service business, it could be another service line. So that's the third way. So you've got first way, just keep doing what you're doing in the market you're doing it in. Second way, expand into new markets, new geographies. Third way, launch some other products or services that make sense, that are close to your offering and that fit your purpose and your vision. The fourth way is to actually go and buy another company. You might, or merge with another company, because you might say, look, we've got a competitor out there, and if we could actually combine our efforts, we'd fast track our growth and actually both succeed together more successfully. So a lot of companies are always on the lookout for, can they find an opportunity to merge with somebody else? For example, if you wanted to open in New Zealand out of Australia and there was a company similar to you over there, why wouldn't you get together and make the best of all your resources and the back-end systems and processes that you've got in place? The final way to grow your business, beyond keeping on doing what you're doing, launching in new markets, developing and launching new products or services, merging with someone, is actually looking at strategic partnerships. We often forget about strategic partners. It's a very forgotten part of business planning. Who could you partner with that could help you succeed, and you could both make some money out of this? So you don't merge together, you don't acquire anyone. You just go, actually, if I could work with that tech company and we could be the exclusive partner of them, that would fast track our growth. So looking at those core strategic partners is critical in terms of how you might want to grow your business. So interestingly, when you map all this out and you do it in a very visual way, all of a sudden you can see where you should or shouldn't focus. So now we've been lucky enough to work with a couple of NRL teams to do their 5-year plans in Australia. Now, the National Rugby League, they've got 9 existing revenue streams, 9 existing offers that they do. And it's everything from, obviously, match day ticketing to food and beverage when you go to the game, to a membership that you might want to buy. They obviously also get some broadcast rights funding from the league. And then you've got things like merchandise, right? The jerseys that you'll wear. Now, we all get very excited about the jerseys or the jumpers, depending on which sport you're looking at. And what you need to have a look at is go, which of those are the biggest bubbles? Which visually, like, are we making 1 million out of that, or are we making 5 million? And if you can visually lay that out, that here's all our revenue streams, here's all the things we offer, and you might realize, well, actually, our jerseys are actually outsourced. Our partner in that is Nike or Adidas or Puma or whoever it might be. And actually they're making most of the money and we're getting a little license fee. And whilst it's important strategically to have our jerseys out there on all of our supporters, we probably need to spend our efforts focused on game day and ticketing and making sure we get sellout crowds, because that can make a bigger difference to our business and we really need to leave our strategic partner to work on merchandise. So when you lay things out quite cleverly like that, it's really easy to understand where the biggest opportunities for growth are across those 5 pillars. So it's tough. That product offering or service offering is often asked about by our clients. Should they launch something else? Should they expand their product offering, or should they just focus on the core? And often we will work through that with organizations and they say, we've got a great product idea. And then you start talking about, well, how much do we think that could do in year 1 or year 2 or year 3 or year 4? And how much effort do we need to put into making sure that we have the right capability and resource to deliver on that, and the salespeople and the marketing team and all those sorts of things. And more often than not, sometimes focusing back on your core is the way to go. There's a very well-known person who specializes in growth out of the US called Vern Harnish, and interestingly, the Americans will call a niche a niche, and he always says the riches are in the niches. Sometimes focusing on your core and doing it super, super well is the right way to go. So again, you just need to go back. If you're going to launch a new product or service, does it tie back to your strategic plan? Does it tie back to your purpose? Does it tie back to your vision? And then, is the effort worth it to get the result? Sometimes it might be, sometimes it's not. If you're sitting back being Apple many, many years ago and you had Apple Mac and then you went, we're going to launch iPods, and then we're going to launch iPads, and then we're going to launch iPhones, they are all very different and new product offerings that they felt that consumers were going to look for and be excited about, and they were right. So they deliberately expanded into a number of other product areas with a lot of success. Other companies have been much better focusing on something that they just do really, really well and just beating the competition all day long. So there's only 5 ways to grow your company. Really worth having a look at. It's very exciting when you want to grow your company, but it's really good to understand what those levers are that you've got and make sure that all your team understand which ones you're going to go after. So thanks for listening.
24-hour business plan.